We now leave the city and head south to Dalkeith. Dalkeith Palace is one of the estates of another title sponsor, Buccleuch Estates, owned by the largest private landowner in Europe, the Duke of Buccleuch. The house is leased to an American school and the grounds are a country park. It was built around 1700 by Sir John Vanbrugh for Duchess Anne, the Duchess of Scots' Lay of the Last Minstrel. A young Queen Victoria stayed at Dalkeith Palace on her very first night in Scotland, the start of a love affair she had with this country, one still very much enjoyed by royals to this day. You too can stay nearby at the guest house at Eskbank. Here is a detached Victorian house offering very comfortable bed and breakfast accommodation in large ensuite rooms. The house is adorned with family portraits and antiques. The walled garden is another attractive feature and allow guests the opportunity to relax outdoors. Yet the guest house is conveniently located only a short distance from the city bypass and offers ample free parking. A few miles to the south, en route to Penicuik, is Roslin Chapel, which was built in 1446 by William Sinclair, Earl of Orkney. It stands perched above the wooded Roslin Glen, and the church is still in use to this day. Indeed, his descendant, the 7th Earl of Roslin, runs the family estate at Roslin and resides at the castle. The chapel is renowned for containing many of the finest examples of medieval stone carving to be found anywhere in the country. The most famous carving is the Apprentice Pillar. It is said that the master stonemason travelled to Rome to look at examples of pillars like the one he had been commissioned to carve. However, upon his return, his apprentice had carved the present pillar in his absence. So enraged was the master stonemason that he is said to have murdered the unfortunate apprentice. Among the many fine carvings can be seen some native North American plants, carved before the New World had been officially discovered. They were said to commemorate the legend of a voyage by the grandfather of the founder to America, a century or so before Christopher Columbus. It is said that Prince Henry Sinclair and a fleet of ships sailed to the New World in 1398. This tale is further evidenced by an effigy of a medieval knight engraved on a rock face in Massachusetts in the USA, known as the Westford Knight, which was discovered in 1954 and has been a mystery to historians ever since. During the Victorian era, it was often visited by Scott and was another inspiration for his poem, The Lay of the Last Minstrel. Other famous writers include Burns, Wordsworth, and poets such as Gillespie and Byron, with painters such as Turner and even Queen Victoria herself visiting. The Roslin Chapel Trust has been formed to preserve the chapel and is undergoing the painstaking work of restoration and created the Visitor Centre, opened by Prince Charles in 1998. The chapel has strong links with the Knights Templar, and some legends say the Holy Grail may lie hidden beneath the church. Indeed, the recent bestseller, The Da Vinci Code, ends its fictional worldwide search for the Holy Grail here at Roslin. Continue south and across country to Gore Bridge and Pathhead. Join the Great North Road south for a mile or so, and just before the Telford Bridge, which was built in 1830 to bypass the village of Ford, lies the Coaching Inn. This was built by Lord and Lady Stair, the Stair Arms Hotel. This warm sandstone building with crow-stepped gables and quaint bullnose windows, complete with antique stagecoach in the grounds, has been a well-known landmark for travellers ever since. Today it offers home-cooked food in the bar and restaurant. This very popular venue utilises locally sourced produce and prime Angus beef in the comfortable restaurant, featuring a roaring log fire in the colder months, whilst the beer garden makes the most of those warmer days. The Stair Arms also offers 12 ensuite rooms for those who wish to base themselves here for a few days. We now head across country again towards Haddington, and signposted is our next destination, Glenkinchie Distillery. Although it lies but 15 miles from Edinburgh's great castle and the bustle of the Royal Mile, Glenkinchie's quiet surroundings make this tranquil place seem more remote. The rolling farmland hereabouts was described by Robert Burns as the most glorious corn-growing country I have ever seen. The farmers, John and George Raitt, are thought to have begun working on or near this site in 1825, calling their first distillery Milton. The land they farmed had belonged centuries earlier to the De Quincey family, from whose name Kinchie derives. By 1837, the Rates had apparently decided to name the distillery after the Kinchy burn. They grew barley on the adjoining land, and as with more than 100 other local distilleries at this time, the result appears to have been a model of self-sufficiency. It was not, however, apparently a great success. Glenkinchy is now one of only 2 surviving lowland distilleries of these times, and even here there were problems. Mr. Christie, successor to the Rates, ceased distilling in 1850, and it was only the boom of the 1880s which restarted distilling here, leading to Glenkinchy's rebuilding in the 1890s as the model Victorian distillery village we know today. The distillery attracts over 20,000 visitors each year and houses a 5-star visitor centre and exhibition. It's been the winner of a number of gold medal industry awards over the years and one of the original 6 classic malts of Scotland, along with Dilwhinnie, Oban, Cragganmore, Lagavulin and Talisker.